Welcome back to Dylan with Sid Meier's Colonization, where we continue the colonization of the Americas as the French. So it is a university, we'll get started on that right away. Alright, so we are back in 1613. For me, I actually did some recording last Monday night, and I was going to have an episode up Tuesday, but it's probably going to be Wednesday for anybody watching this on the first day it's out. I did 3.5 hours of recording and forgot to turn my mic on, so that's nice. I got to like 1628, about 30 turns over 3.5 hours roughly. Very nice. I did, however, realize that because we have Benjamin Franklin, the English can't actually seem to attack us, so they're just annoying little bastards standing outside our cities forever. Plus, I also had some things happen in the future that I'm not gonna worry too much about, but now I gotta reorient myself to what the hell I was doing. Part of why it took so friggin' long for me to get through the turns is that Colonization is a game that, as it gets bigger, it becomes logistically harder and harder to manage moving the goods from colony to colony. And the result is that it kind of exponentially grows in terms of micromanagement. To kind of deal with that, there is a trade system that you can set up automated trade routes, and I think I'm going to have to do that because it was really just taking a long time just moving everything around. But at the same time, I feel like my colonies need a certain amount of finesse that I just can't really do automated, so I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that exactly. Gonna try automated, but we'll see how it goes. Not fully automated, some of the wagon trains will be manually controlled, of course. I've also realized that the natives are just not going to give us very good prices no matter what. I got up to where I was almost at like 50% tax rate, and the natives still couldn't really meet the prices that I was getting from Europe. So yeah, not too concerned about keeping them around. And the issue is that once we build up an army to repel the king, the natives are going to get very freaked out. And because of that, they're going to start attacking us basically no matter what. Since they're going to start attacking us, we pretty much have no choice but to eventually attack them, which means that we need to develop a military. However, I am currently still working towards a university in Proxima and a warehouse over here in Ironhold, interestingly enough. Ironhold actually gets a university. I went up to 3 universities. I think I'm just going to settle with 2 universities. I don't think I need 3 universities. This is also the kind of game that I think it's very difficult to figure out how to make a video from it, because right now I just edit it such that I only have my portions where I'm speaking, which makes sense, you know. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of nitty-gritty in this game, which I guess I should really try to reduce with the automated trade routes. So let's give that a shot. Let's make some trade routes. Destination 1. I think it's just my goods arrangement is just too complicated to automate my trade routes, and honestly, like, I'm so freaking autistic that I enjoy I enjoy manually moving goods around in a logistics chain. Like, it might be weird for you to hear that, but there's something about me and my brain that I'm like, that's fun for me. Like, for somebody else that would be like mind-numbing work, but for me, I'm like, I need this here and I need this here, so I'll think about what I need here. To me, that's fun. So I guess I'm gonna spend the next hour until my wife starts to get home and I need to cook dinner, playing the game, and for y'all it should just be a couple minutes, I suppose. We'll see how it goes. We are still at war with the Dutch, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in a earlier video, but the only way to talk to another colony is to move a scout into their colony square and speak to the mayor. There's no other way to negotiate with another colony unless they come to you and then they talk to you. So we're at war with the Dutch for a little while. They're going to be a pain in the ass pretty soon. But we should be able to fix that with Benjamin Franklin in not too long. And in fact, some of these dragoons are going to get used to fix that little problem sooner rather than later, because I need them to go do something. So this one's going to go ahead north and go meet a little somebody that is currently traveling in this direction. And all these other dragoons are going to be standing down to do their thing, because any resources that you devote to a military are resources that are not devoted to economics. And this game is all about economics. That's why the Dutch are always like #1 in the game, is because they have simply better economics. Like this fur trapper, I had no idea that he was a fur trapper. I totally forgot about him, so now we can trap furs and we can properly sustain our coat production. This dude is a regular free colonist. For him, I need to teach him something useful. But we don't have a university here yet, and we don't have a university anywhere else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach him fur trading. That'll take a little bit of time, 6 turns I think, because this is a college education. University education takes 8 turns for things like elder statesmen, firebrand preachers. I'm not sure why the hell you would train a Jesuit missionary, because they're just expert missionaries and there's a founding father that makes all the missionaries experts. Like, there's no point doing that. And firebrand preachers are probably not advisable either, but I might give it a shot. We have until 1800 to declare independence, and I mean, this game is all about just building an economy, and supposedly the king is actually pretty weak. I have yet to win though, so I'll find out if that's true or not. But yeah, so last night I played for quite a while, and then I got done recording at like 11:30. I'm like, it's time to go to sleep. And then I noticed that my little microphone light on my Focusrite mic interface wasn't on, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, Jesus Christ, I felt like sick almost. It sucks to lose that much of your life. Like, I didn't lose life. I enjoy the game, but now I gotta replay it again. The same part again. But I'll be changing some things up from what I did before. Alright, but yeah, all of our dragoons have stood down now. I don't need any dragoons. The English can't do jack to us. That is a nice improvement. I do need a proper master weaver. Do I have one coming back yet? I do. Yes, good, very good. I'm also going to master tobacconist. We're plowing the fields north of Ironhold. I'm going to find out pretty soon if the resource generation is the same, or if it's random when you plow a field, because there's actually prime tobacco underneath here. I also realized that I really need to consider finding out if there's anybody anywhere, like say over here, that trains sugar planting, tobacco planting, etc. Because we just don't have any access to it. Like, every native village basically does ore or furs. That's about it. The occasional farmer. I don't really get why that is. I got like 100% screwed in this game in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways. I had terrible, terrible Lost City rumors. I guess I should have focused on getting Hernando de Soto first. Most of the online strategy guides about colonization these days, in terms of speedrunning, are all like, exploration is #1. And yeah, exploration is #1 if you play in a large landmass. That's just like an obvious thing in a lot of ways. Because of getting like goody huts, you can get a crap ton of stuff. You can get like 7 to 8 colonists from a Fountain of Youth, and you can get multiple Fountains of Youth. So if you can pull that off, you're basically set. Like, enormously set, actually. We aren't building anything here in Safe Harbor. I think we should actually probably work towards an armory eventually. I have realized that I need more armories to manufacture artilleries rapidly, because I've learned about the game in the meantime. Since I lost so much time, I was like, alright, I need to finish this a little bit faster. There should be a Dutch frigate up here in the north, but we're going to take on this caravel and probably sink it. Hey, hey, hey. Good deal. I am, of course, continuously happy to screw over the English because they have their forces sitting in my lands, and they refuse to move. Because of that, I want them to get the hell out. It is incredibly aggravating to have my lands be infested with English. Thankfully, I didn't lose a whole bunch of time. Hello, merchantman down there. Actually, that galleon is, got some cargo on it. Let's take a look at that galleon in a second here. 5 cargoes. Ooh, very, very laden with strength reducing cargo. We can probably get away with taking that bastard down. We do risk getting destroyed by a frigate, but a galleon is 3,000 gold. They are minus 62% from cargo. Wonderful. We do have a little bit of cargo, which is weighing us down slightly, but we have an attack bonus at plus 50%. Hello. What the hell, man? Come on, bro. Oh my god. How the hell did we lose that fight? They were at minus 62%. That put them at like 5 strength. We had like plus... So the combat bonuses in this game are not additive. They are actually multiplicative. So it's strength times minus, say, 13%, multiplied by plus 50%, etc. They're not additive. So we should have been at like 11 versus 5. It's about a 66% win rate, and I guess it's reasonable that they won. Getting a dry dock wouldn't be a bad idea either, so that we can repair our boats here instead of in Europe. But we're going to go for a college next first. I could have sworn I had more carpenters than the amount of carpenters that I have right now. I do need to pull out the Elder Statesman from Safe Harbor, move him over to Proxima, simply because we are kind of riding the edge of the inefficient government penalty. I'm gonna need that Statesman to deal with that a little bit. We can pull out some farmers, but I don't want to pull out too many farmers. Although, let's just change this back to nothing. We're not gonna make any progress if we don't have any carpenters here. I want to get a university built after... Well, I did say I only wanted 2 universities, right? I guess that's understandable. In that case, I want to train up another fisherman, because I remember the any day fisherman up in Gunny, I believe. Let's take a look. Yes, I need a fisherman up here. I'm actually losing food. I cannot support this carpenter at the same time as everybody else. I think it'd be better to pull out the gunsmith temporarily, though. So we'll take him out as a regular colonist. Now we aren't losing food in Gunny. I could import food here, but if I don't import any food right now, they'll actually lose a colonist. The colonist will starve, so I can't risk that. Oh, gotta move the fisherman, make sure he goes in the college, not in the trading post. I think there's actually an effect where you lose revolutionary support if you're not producing enough Liberty Bells. I'm not sure if it's true though. I could be wrong. It just seems to be something that I feel like is happening, but I'm not certain is happening. Let's see if we can find that Dutch Dragoon here pretty soon. The faster we talk to the Dutch, the better. I'm very tired of being at war with them, and very shortly they're going to be causing me some headaches on the seas. Alright, got some coats and got some cloth to unload. Of course, it's going to lose some money to taxes, that's alright. And the prices fluctuate, but they tend to stay pretty steady at about 7 gold for each one of these manufactured goods. It doesn't seem to make much of a difference how much you offload. I do kind of have an interest in trading with the natives if I could get sugar supplies, but I don't think I'm going to worry too much about that. So we got 1,100 gold. We ideally want some tobacconists to train up. Alternatively, some more hardy pioneers might not be a bad thing, but we can train hardy pioneers. Let's take a look at the recruitment pool. I'll take the master blacksmiths. I'll take free colonists. Let's just go hard. Alright, we'll take those 2. Take them back home. Probably save it for a master tobacconist on the next couple of runs. And we got the criminal trained up to a proper fisherman. Very wonderful. So now we can take that fisherman out and send him up north pretty soon. Probably right now, honestly. I think I should change this warehouse over to a printing press. Get that built first, so that we can increase the Liberty Bell production. If I remember right, that is something that I did earlier in the game. Well, earlier for me. For y'all, it never happened. And we got the Weaver arrived. Very wonderful indeed. We cannot bring him in yet because of inefficient government penalties, so I need to pull somebody out. And that somebody is going to be this farmer. You're going to get out of my colony temporarily. Go somewhere else. Master Weaver, please do teach our weavers to be better. And in the meantime, we're going to load up some cigars and some cloth to trade back to Europe. Mr. Dutch Dragoon, are you hiding out here somewhere? Not yet. We'll find them soon enough. And look at Gunny up north. There are 3 English Dragoons just hanging out around our city. We're not going to mess with them. And we got the Elder Statesman over here. We need to pull out yet another farmer, I believe. Oh, we should be fine pulling out one of these free colonists. We'll have them go do something else. Bring in the Elder Statesman. We need to fix our Liberty Bells here. Proxima's going to become like the main shipping harbor for us. Yes, we did indeed find prime tobacco hiding underneath that tower right there. Very nice. And there's the Dutch frigate. Come to annoy us and blockade us. My caravel, of course, cannot leave as long as that frigate is sitting there menacingly. But let's see if we can find that Dutch Dragoon. He should be over here somewhere. It's just a matter of finding him. Crap. This fisherman is going to head on up north to Gunny so that we can get a better food supply there. We might even send the farmer up there, but I'm not sure that we can genuinely support that. Could send the farmer back over to Safe Harbor and then train up a colonist at the same time. Or better yet, I could probably train a lumberjack, which is what I'm going to do with this free colonist. Send him over to Safe Harbor. We'll swap out the lumberjack into the college. Only 2 at a time. Crap. So universities can sustain 3 teachers, colleges 2, and schoolhouses 1. That must be the restriction. That makes a little more sense for universities then. Alright, let's just bring him in as a coat maker temporarily. That way we can actually use almost as many furs as we produce. We'll train him up here pretty soon to be a lumberjack. Our caravel is stuck in Proxima, cannot go anywhere because of the Dutch frigate. Nothing I can do about that. I am also not joking when I say I'm autistic. I'm autistic. That is basically a guarantee. With this farmer, I'm actually going to go found a city further north. My plan here is to rebuild Lumberton, and then to also build like a farm city up here. We don't need to go to war with the Indians soon, but we are going to have to go to war with them eventually. But we'll do that when we have a larger military available. That'll also train our soldiers to be veterans. We've got to try to find these Dutch dragoons wherever they're hiding. That frigate is a very big pain in my ass. And because of the frigate, I cannot bring in the caravel, otherwise he'll get sunk by the frigate. We got the fishermen in place to fish the oceans, and oh my god, only 6 food. Why? We produce 8 food here and 8 food here. This is not considered a coast tile? What's up with that? Coast/river +1. Whatever. We'll be able to support more people here pretty soon because of that. Once we have the revolutionary support, we'll be a-okay. Awesome, we got the printing press and Gunny. I'm very, very happy about that. Next up, we're going to go for a newspaper. We need to get that built pretty much ASAP. Gunny's going to be another major city. We're going to be building some satellite colonies eventually to supply raw resources to the primary cities. Very good. We've got a fisherman trained. For some reason, he's in the fur trapping house, but that's okay. We'll pull the fisherman out of the colony, put the lumberjack into the college, put this free colonist into the conifer forest to function as a temporary lumberjack, and we'll train up a replacement for the lumberjack. And then the lumberjack can go somewhere else. Thankfully the galleon cannot attack me, but I should be out of range of the frigate right here. Yeah, just out of range. The Dutch dragoons should be around here somewhere. We may need to just pull back and then make sure that we catch him in this area before he can risk attacking us. It just takes them a little while to actually arrive. I don't remember exactly when they make it to our area, but they do get there eventually. And our pioneer no longer has tools. We need to get him re-equipped, but first we need to get the university built in Proxima. I'm very much looking forward to the time in which we'll be training our own homebrew statesmen instead of having relied upon our European sources. Got the fur trader trained up properly. We need to get him to work in the actual fur trading post. Get the colonist to work as a lumberjack. The training sequence is a little bit weird in this game, but I do like how it works. At the same time though, in the remake of Colonization, I absolutely understand that these units represent like a pretty large amount of people. You don't need more than a couple teachers really out of the group of people. So you don't need like a whole unit to be a teacher. So I do understand the Colonization's remake preferring to make it so that once a specialty has worked in a city for just one turn, that you can teach that specialty to whoever comes later on that represents people being left behind or people having the skills and knowledge beforehand to teach people in the future. Because you only need a few that actually know what they're doing. That's basically the way I think about it. We're gonna pull back. We might be scary. There they are. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So now they're offering us a peace treaty. Yes. I take that. There we go. Alright, Dragoon needs to come back. Stand down. Frigate, no longer a problem. Very nice indeed. So Caravel cannot yet move because I had already ended his turn. That's another bad thing about this game, is that once you end the turn of a unit, you put them to sleep, you cannot wake them up. There is no waking up in Colonization. Once you skip turn, you've skipped turn. I'm going to send the Hardy Pioneer over to Proxima to start training up future pioneers. We're going to need more pioneers to develop all this land. With the Master Blacksmith come in, we'll be able to increase tool production quite a bit. But we're also going to need expert ore miners to actually mine the ore, which we are running a little bit low on. Let's send the fisherman over to Proxima as well. Eventually he'll become a proper fisherman to work that tile right there. And let's move on. Ah yes, I'm very glad the frigate is done. I was very happy when I moved my Dragoon at first to try to meet any Dragoons coming this direction, because that frigate stood there for so long just watching us. The Dutch just love to watch you. I think the AI in general loves to just harass the crap out of you. They're undoubtedly planned to do annoying things like that. Although I kind of do the same thing with privateers if I have them. But I don't just sit there, I sit out of vision range and watch you so that you don't know that I'm watching you. Actually, let's bring that pioneer back to Ironhold. We'll get the blacksmith working on tools, and then I think I already moved him, right? No, I can move him back. Very good indeed. So Ironhold has a schoolhouse, and we can teach a free colonist with just a schoolhouse. And we have enough revolutionary support that we can sustain this kind of population in Ironhold. So in the meantime, what else would we like this guy to do? I think we want to make him be a lumberjack temporarily, because we simply need, or I can make 14 Liberty Bells from a statesman. I'll do that. Let's do that. Liberty Bells are a wonderful, wonderful thing. Gunsmith and farmer cannot do anything right now. I could build another colony up here, which is not a bad idea. It would allow me to build more wagon trains. You can only have as many wagon trains as you have colonies, and I do like using wagon trains. I'll go ahead and I'll move that farmer up there and build a colony there, why not? And then I'll build Lumberton with the lumberjack that gets trained from Safe Harbor. And finally, oh finally, this caravel can leave and head on down to Europe. If I haven't mentioned it before, if you enter a sea lane and then manually move, it costs you a movement turn to go to Europe. It costs you a movement point, I mean. If you do go to, though, like orders, or you just hit G, like if you have a caravel clicked and you hit G and click go to Europe, they'll go to Europe the moment they enter the sea lane. So it doesn't cost you an extra movement point. Something to just keep in mind. Not sure if I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. Thank you so much for blocking my path, native. I appreciate that. Yay. We got the tools for the university dropped off. Very nice. I'll be getting the university built probably on the next turn, so we can start training some proper elder statesmen. And I can actually sustain this fisherman already, so I'll put him to work immediately. And we're up to 20% tax, big deal. Got ourselves a college and Ironhold, very nice. So now I'd like to start working immediately on a university. Let's do that. And I think I would go ahead and like to get a university in Safe Harbor. I think 3 universities is a good amount, especially as we start building out some satellite colonies. And this is our first proper university. So we have a master weaver trained somewhere. He's in the tobacco shop, okay. We're gonna move a free colonist to the tobacco shop, move a weaver over to the weaving, and then we're going to pull... yes, we're going to move the statesman so they can start training the colonist immediately. I'll train up one more expert. Well, will I? Will I do that? I don't think I will do that. I'll just have 2 master weavers. The elder statesman will train both this colonist and possibly eventually this colonist, although we do want to get a tobacconist so that we can have 2 tobacconists. With the completion of the university, I would like to work on, I think, an armory next, so that we can eventually start building artilleries. We're going to need forts and then fortresses in all of our coastal cities as well. Alright, a privateer got repaired in Rochelle in France. Let's head back home. And we got a proper lumberjack as well as a population growth in Safe Harbor. This lumberjack we're going to pull out. I'm going to send him off to build Lumberton to harvest more timber. This free colonist, let's think about what we'd like to do with him. I should have moved that fur trader. Let's move him into fur trading, and then let's pull this fur trapper into the college, put the colonist into the forest, make him work as a fur trapper temporarily. Although that means that we cannot produce enough furs to meet demand, so we do have some reserves that we can pull from. That's okay, we'll be good. We'll have 3 fur trappers, 2 fur traders, and that should be a pretty good ratio. Alrighty, we can now support the gunsmith to do his actual job in the armory. Very nice. Start building those muskets back up. Alright, look at this crap. There was just a dragoon offloaded from the English caravel right there. I think what's happening is that the AI thinks that they can attack me, but because I have Benjamin Franklin, they cannot attack me. Like, they have to remain at peace with me. Let's see what we got in the recruitment pool. Master fur traders, I mean, eventually, yeah, I'll take that, but not right now. Although getting more fur traders is not a bad idea. I'll take a master tobacconist. We can use him to train other people. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to get some more free colonists, period. And then sail away. We've got an armory and Proxima, wonderful. With the construction of the armory, we can now build artillery, which take 40 tools and 192 hammers, quite a few hammers. But artillery are better than frigates in terms of cost. They're better in terms of hammers and better in terms of tools. They're also extremely defensive in cities, and I believe you can attack out from a colony with an artillery and not have the colony and not have the artillery get damaged if it loses the fight. as long as you're attacking from inside a colony. So we're going to want to have quite a few artillery eventually. But first, we probably want to build a fort. Well, let's build a dry dock first. I want to get a place for my privateer to repair that's not Europe. Looking at all my colonies, I do realize I actually need more carpenters. In my other playthrough of this game that got lost, I actually stopped building things quite so much because I felt like I didn't need to, but now that I realize that I really need artilleries, we're going to need plenty of carpenters to build those artilleries. I can't stand down the Dragoon and Gunny. I need to stand down the Dragoon somewhere else that has the available space for the horses and the muskets. It looks like it's going to be Ironhold that gets the Dragoon. So you're going to become a regular colonist. I don't know. Let's make sure that we click the right one. You're going to become a regular colonist, and you're just a typical free colonist. This one I think I'd like to train pioneering as well. So let's put him in the town hall temporarily. Got some coats to sell, not a whole lot of money, but it's something. Now we could recruit some people. I think that we're better off just going ahead and recruiting some more free colonists to train. Now we're up to 500 gold. We're almost as expensive as it is to train an expert ore miner for 600 gold. And you can just clear the specialty of an ore miner. That's what you do if recruiting through the immigration pool gets too expensive. And we got that pioneer properly trained up. So we're going to give him some tools right away. Well, actually, let's make sure, let's try to get him 100 tools so that he can have plenty of time to upgrade things. I suppose that he'll be just fine with 60 tools. That'll be good enough. So our frigate is back, and there's another galleon that we can attack. I'm not sure attacking a galleon is the right way to go. The Dutch frigate went west over to here, so they were well away from us. I should be able to... It'd be pretty good to take down this galleon just to do it. Let's give it a shot. We might lose the privateer, we might not. Again, we lost. Wonderful. Attacking galleons just doesn't seem sensible. They only have 10 strength. We have 8, but we have 50% attack bonus, so that puts us at 12. They had 1 cargo on them, which brings them down to like 9. We had pretty decent odds, like maybe 60%, but whatever. Part of the reason we're building a dry dock is so that we repair the privateer here, instead of in France. We finally arrived at the tile that we wish to settle, so we're going to settle here. We're going to ignore what they have to say about it, and we're just going to build farm build. The main point of this town is just to produce a bunch of food. That's it. I'm probably not going to bother building like buildings in here, because plains are here and very good for food. This is mixed forest, broadleaf. These 2 mixed forests, but they become plains, which produce a crap ton of food. This is also mixed forest down here. These are broadleaf forests. They are decent for lumber, but if you cut them down, they become good for cotton. We might cut them down eventually. I'm not going to rush too much on that one, but getting the plains set up and plowed will be wonderful. And of course, there's an English Dragoon sitting in the exact spot that I want to settle, so we're just going to move a little bit closer to them right there, and hope that they move. I also love when the AI just sits in your port and blocks the 1 axis square for your city. It's not like we use that square, but it's still annoying. While they were sitting there, 2 of a merchantman. Ooh. Lost a couple muskets from overproduction, I think. That's okay. You know what? I bet I can actually get a way of setting up some automated trade routes. So what we need to do is we need to move food from Proxima over to Safe Harbor. Or we can just move food from Safe Harbor to Proxima. We can ship everything to Proxima. Let's do that. Let's set up a trade route. A trade route from Safe Harbor. That is a land route. This is safe to Prox. That's going to be food and coats. Destination 2 is going to be Proxima. We're going to unload. Do we unload anything in Safe Harbor? I don't think so. Let's load. Food. We'll load. Coats. We'll unload. Coats. Unload. Food. Safe Harbor doesn't produce anything else. We don't need to move anything to Safe Harbor, so let's just set that up. And then once I've got a wagon train right here, I can go to orders, begin trade route, safe to Prox, travel to Safe Harbor first, and then we just set up a route from Ironhold to Proxima. Basically the same thing. We need to move food from Ironhold over to Proxima. Now that is kind of dangerous. If I push my food supplies too far, we could start having colonists starve. but by concentrating food in one colony, we turn them into colonists faster. So, kind of risky, but you just gotta pay attention. So here in Ironhold, we need to move tobacco and food to Proxima. Nothing else, I don't think. Thanks so much for watching Dealing With It. If you liked the video, giving it a like would really help it to reach other viewers that might also like the video. If you'd like to see more, you can always subscribe, and I'll see you later in episode 9.